Tonight, one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives is finally behind bars more than 20 years after authorities say he carried out a pair of bombings in the San Francisco Bay Area. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Authorities say the suspect in those bombings, Daniel Andreas San Diego, was tracked down in the UK. KTVU's Henry Lee joining us live tonight with more on this arrest decades in the making. Henry?
Yeah, Alex, this was back in 2003. Two pipe bomb explosions, one in Emeryville, the other in Pleasanton. Cities unaccustomed to such violence. The feds were brought in, and they soon turned their sights on an animal rights activist. Animal rights activist Daniel Andreas San Diego is behind bars, arrested in Wales after a manhunt that lasted more than 2 decades. The 46-year-old suspect appeared in a London courtroom a day after being taken into custody. San Diego is charged with planting 2 bombs in August 2003 at Chiron Corporation, a biotech company in Emeryville. The second bomb was rendered safe before it could explode.
All we know that there were possibly plastic devices with egg timers as a part of the device.
A month later, the suspect allegedly set off a bomb strapped with nails at Shackley Corporation, a nutritional products company in Pleasanton. Authorities believe he targeted the firms because they had done business with a New Jersey lab that conducted animal experiments. The bombings did not injure anyone, but authorities say the devices had the potential to do great damage, especially because they had timers.
Anyone who uses a timing device for a bomb makes a sophisticated bomb.
Sharif Ibrahim was on the UC Berkeley bomb squad at the time of the incidents.
With all the resources that are put to capturing those people, for somebody to be out there for 20 years and not found means that they put a lot of effort to being not found.
In 2009, San Diego was the first domestic terror suspect to be added to the FBI's most wanted list of alleged extremists. Over the years, the FBI said San Diego, who had ties to Berkeley and Sonoma County, was believed to be hiding out in a number of places, from western Massachusetts to Costa Rica. The Bureau issued flyers showing the suspect with different hairstyles. The FBI said he was known to follow a vegan diet, had worked as a computer network specialist, and was skilled at sailing. So now all eyes will be on the extradition process, how to get San Diego back to the U.S. so that he can answer to charges in federal court. Live in the newsroom, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And Henry, I know that you covered those original bombings when they happened more than 20 years ago. What were your thoughts today when you found out the FBI had finally tracked down the suspect?
Well, to be quite honest, I was stunned, Alex, that he was actually found. I mean, I thought he was just as good as gone. If he hadn't shown up for a couple of years, I thought, well, he'd never see the light of day. So it is interesting news to find out that he was arrested, and I'm just curious as to whether he had any help in being hidden all this time.
Yeah, a lot more to learn about this case here and this huge arrest by the FBI. Henry Lee, live in the newsroom tonight. Henry, thank you for that. FBI Director Christopher Wray did issue a statement today on this arrest, and it says, in part, no matter how long it takes, the FBI will find you and hold you accountable. There's a right way and a wrong way to express your views in our country, and turning to violence and destruction of property is not the right way. All right, we turn now and talk about the big travel rush, the holiday travel rush. It's underway, ramping up across the country and here in the West. Here's a live look tonight at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, where it has been busy all throughout the day. So far, just over 100 delays at this airport, more than 200 flight delays each at LAX and San Francisco International. While airlines are doing a much better job staying on schedule today compared to the previous 3 days, travelers are noticing how busy it's getting as we inch toward the Thanksgiving holiday.
I am thankful that I was able to come here and not get stuck in any airports, not have any bad weather, and I made it safely.
I didn't expect it to be, this busy.
And we had to rush to make our flight.
TSA agents are expected to screen more than 2.8 million travelers today and another 2.9 million tomorrow. Tonight, U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon is leading a group of lawmakers who are raising questions about the growing use of facial recognition technology at U.S. airports. They're calling on the Department of Homeland Security to evaluate TSA's identity verification program that uses biometrics. The voluntary program allows passengers to scan ID at a security checkpoint. Then a camera takes their photo and software compares the two images. Senator Merkley posted a video on YouTube of his experience with the technology, saying it's confusing and causes privacy concerns.
Hi there. I'm going to opt out of the camera. Thank you.
Next time, let me know before so I can turn it off, okay, boss? Dad is gonna take a picture.
Gonna take a picture?
Thank you. Yeah, it did. You're good, thank you.
Well, you can delete it.
Yeah, that's all. It's gone.
All right. That kind of coast-to-coast government surveillance system is too much power in the hands of any government surveying and keeping track of its citizens.
12 U.S. senators have signed on to Merkley's request for an independent evaluation of this program, with the findings then being presented to Congress. Now, the TSA has put out a statement on its website addressing this program and privacy concerns. It says, in part, quote, "Your photo and personal data are deleted after your identity is verified. Images are not used for law enforcement, surveillance, and not shared with other entities. Tell the officer if you do not want your photo taken, you will not lose your place in line." For more on this technology and the implications of it, we are joined live tonight by Matthew Garaglia, the Senior Policy Analyst at the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Matthew, thank you for taking the time tonight. We appreciate it. Tell me, what concerns you most about the growing use of this facial recognition technology at U.S. airports?
I think one of the major concerns is that we don't really know how it's going to be used in the future. Now it's opt out, and now they delete your photograph after you've taken it. But we simply don't know what that's going to look like in the future, as the TSA has signaled that it might not always be opt out. And we know with things like driver's license photos that those do eventually get rolled into databases that police have used to compare grainy suspect photos to driver's license photos. So we have real concerns that building the infrastructure for facial recognition in airports is really going to contribute to a larger system of surveillance.
Yeah, I mean, the TSA is planning to roll out this facial recognition technology at more than 400 airports nationwide. Is it your sense that we are moving to a place where it is not going to be something you can opt out of, but it's going to be a requirement to use this kind of technology in order to fly?
That's my real concern. Yes, the TSA seems to have it in their head that for some reason this watching a computer load for a few seconds is so much faster than having a TSA agent compare your photo to your face by their eyes. And as we've seen just a few months ago, that one false update could bring down computer systems in airports. So I don't know that it's a lot more convenient, but the TSA seems to think so. And I worry that that means they're going to move in the direction where you can't opt out for convenience sake.
Yeah, and obviously now we have this group of lawmakers. They're calling for this independent evaluation of the technology. Talk to me about what this kind of evaluation would look like and what kind of safeguards could be put in place in your mind to protect the privacy of passengers.
I think a really good question will be where these photographs will be stored, how long they're going to be stored for, if they're stored at all, if there's a database that they're eventually going to compare that to, where those photos come from, and how secure they are. I mean, we live in the era of massive data breaches, and if a huge database with faces on it gets breached or gets leaked, you only have one face, and so you want to make sure that however it's being stored, it's being restored responsibly, or better yet, not stored at all.
Is it at all important to know how often this kind of facial recognition program results in identity verification errors? Is it important to know how often it gets it right and gets the match?
Well, I mean, we know for a fact from how police use facial recognition that it does get it wrong. It does misidentify people. And that would be a real headache for somebody trying to get onto a plane, trying to travel for Thanksgiving, if suddenly they are misidentified and it's going to hold up the line, it's going to hold up the people behind them. But the real thing is, even if the technology was flawless, it still poses a pretty important civil liberties and civil rights threat.
Let me ask you finally here about the way this has all been rolled out. You heard and saw the video there from Senator Merkley from Oregon, his personal experience as a traveler and how he interacted with the TSA agent. I mean, you hear the TSA say, all you have to do is tell the officer if you don't want your photo taken. But, we've all been through the TSA checkpoints. People are likely to assume that something like this is required. Do you think, at least in the short term here, that agents should be more clear that this is something that is not mandatory?
Absolutely. I mean, it is really hard to get up to that front of the line and people behind you are impatient and you're impatient and then have to ask, hey, excuse me, before you do anything, I'd like to opt out. It's much easier to just step up and do what you're told. But for people who really care about their privacy, who want to opt out, they shouldn't feel that shame and they shouldn't feel like they're being coerced into giving their consent to participate in face recognition. And part of that has to be that when the signage has to be right. People have to feel like they are comfortable asking to be opt out, and they can't get pushback from TSA agents, which that video shows and which a lot of people have experienced.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll of course continue to follow this effort by lawmakers to have an independent evaluation of this program. Certainly appreciate your insight tonight. Matthew Garaglia with the Electronic Frontier Foundation joining us live. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
And for an in-depth look at how the TSA is using biometrics in the screening process at security checkpoints at U.S. airports, you can head to our website. It's westcoastwrap.com. Coming up tonight here on the show, not the best time for a holiday road trip in some parts of Colorado. Tonight, the snowstorms bringing traffic to a crawl.
And in weather, we are tracking some clouds across parts of California, even some rain showers as well. We'll have the forecast update coming up.
Also coming up tonight, Drake threatens to go after his own music label with a lawsuit. Why he believes Universal Music took sides in the heated feud that he had with Southern California rapper Kendrick Lamar. Storms in Colorado are slowing down some travelers trying to get a jump start on holiday road trips. This is what it looked like about 3 hours ago in Summit County, west of Denver. Snow is expected to affect travel in the Colorado Rockies and the mountains there and at lower elevations all throughout the Thanksgiving holiday. AAA is expecting 72 million people will take road trips over the Thanksgiving break. Fox 10's Lauren Clark shows us how some travelers in the Phoenix area are hoping to avoid peak congestion.
'Tis the season for Thanksgiving travel, and AAA is expecting possibly a record breaker this year as millions of Americans and Arizonans are expected to hit the roads to visit their family for the holiday. On Thanksgiving Eve, Arizonans are gassing up for some long hours on the road.
Heading back home to California to go visit some family.
As the turkey isn't the only thing that will be stuffed in the next few days.
This year, nationwide, it's looking about 80 million people across the country going to be traveling.
Julian Paredes with AAA expects this holiday to serve up one of the busiest travel days yet. The organization predicts 1.65 million Arizonans will travel 50 miles or more for Thanksgiving, and about 1.43 million of them will be on the road.
No matter where you're going, you can definitely expect it to be really busy.
Many drivers like Janine Leon are prepping for chaos.
Bumper to bumper.
But others like Jerry Hoffman from Sierra Vista,
I guess we must have missed the rush hour.
Discovered the beauty of planning ahead, which is a must-do if you're driving an electric vehicle all the way up to Vegas.
I can't make it quite to Wickenburg, so I'm going to stop here, grab a bite to eat or something, and then head on out.
Then there's the Spataro family from Lincoln, Nebraska. Their solution to tackling the holiday road rush, make a road trip out of it. So far, the family has stopped to see the Manitou Incline in Colorado Springs, walked the Rio Grande in Big Bend National Park, and hiked the tallest peak in Texas, the Guadalupe Mountains. They're now heading to Joshua Tree before spending Thanksgiving in Palm Springs. Dad Solomon says the trick is an early start. Well, at least for him.
Before everybody else. I'll get up at 4. I don't mind getting up early.
And the Thanksgiving travel season is a little bit longer this year, starting today and continuing until December 2nd. Reporting here in Phoenix, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.
People in some parts of Alaska are dealing with several more inches of snow tonight. The National Weather Service posted some slow motion video of snow falling in Juneau earlier today. And more snow is expected to come down through tomorrow. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the conditions for travelers as we head toward Thanksgiving. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, nice to see that snow in parts of Alaska. Also tracking the snowfall in parts of Colorado. Here's the radar imagery over the past few hours, as you can see approaching Grand Junction, out toward Denver as well. In fact, here's the coverage and some of the storm reports so far. And this one site showing 9.5 inches of rainfall of snowfall from earlier today. And as we check out here, the winter winter weather advisories for all the areas in purple. That does include Denver. That begins tomorrow morning, 2 a.m. until 2 p.m. with that snowfall still coming down. Here's the satellite and the radar where you can see this stream of moisture targeting central and southern California here. So there's about a 50-50 chance of rainfall in Los Angeles. Some light rain for tonight into tomorrow morning, but most of that moisture is kind of streaming into the central coast of California, and also some high clouds moving into the Phoenix area as well. Current numbers right now, it is 71 in Phoenix. Reno, Nevada is checking in 35. San Francisco 54 and some 40s for Portland and Seattle, 42 to 46 degrees. This was Seattle today, showing you all the cloud cover, temperatures in the mid 40s, and there is a slight chance of some rainfall for tonight into your Wednesday morning. San Francisco had some rain showers this morning, 0.18, but then as you can see with this camera this afternoon, some clearing out toward portions of the bay. And then out toward Arizona, this was Phoenix picking up on some high cloud cover throughout the day, but that 79 looks nice this afternoon, and more 70s for tomorrow as well. Here is the forecast model. Once again, it does pick up on the snow coverage out toward parts of Colorado. Some high clouds for the Arizona area and also down towards Southern California. Once again, the chance of some rain showers or some sprinkles tonight into tomorrow morning. And then as you can see here, some cloud cover moving into Seattle and maybe a shower chance as well. So over the next 3 days, here is the planner. As you can pick out here, we have the cloud cover, temperatures in the 40s for Seattle. And then for San Francisco, the rain clouds, it's been a real active week in the Bay Area, but finally a break for the rainfall. And as you can see, some sunshine for San Francisco Wednesday, Thursday for Thanksgiving, and maybe a few high clouds by Friday. Los Angeles has that shower threat for tomorrow morning, then partly cloudy skies into the afternoon hours. Sun cloud mix for Phoenix, and of course the main snowfall, as we talked about, is concentrated out toward Colorado. It looks like a snowy forecast for Denver coming up for your Wednesday forecast. So overall, no major storms to talk about for a good portion of the West Coast, but still we're going to keep an eye on that snowmaker that will zip across the country, and that could impact travel for lots of people across other portions of the country.
Yeah, but for the most part, we're looking pretty clear here across the West as we head toward Thanksgiving. Mark, thank you. Many communities in Washington are looking at a long road to recovery after extensive storm damage. King County is in the process right now of tallying up all of that damage. Residents are being asked to add up their losses and report them on the county's Emergency Management Department website. They say all of that information will help as the state prepares to request disaster assistance from FEMA. Residents may also qualify for property tax relief.
All have to substantiate the damage in order for all of the dollars to roll up to meet the FEMA requirement for reimbursement.
King County Council members have proposed legislation that would help ease some of the cleanup costs right away. If passed, they'll waive permitting fees for tree removal and offer financial assistance. In Southern California, a young man has died after being electrocuted while installing Christmas lights. Fox's Zara Barker is in Escondido with more on what happened and how to stay safe when you're putting up decorations.
While the beauty of twinkling Christmas lights can bring so much joy, hanging them up comes with deadly dangers.
I think about my family and my workers' families, but it's never worth sacrificing safety.
On Thursday, a tragic accident killed 24-year-old Antonio Pascual Mateo, who was hanging lights at a home on Skyline Drive. Officials say he threw lights over a high-voltage power line and died from electrocution.
First unit arrived on scene and found a worker suspended in the air via a waist harness. It appeared that he had come in contact with some high-power tension lines.
His family says the tragedy happened while he was hanging lights for a client, something he had done for years. The GoFundMe in Mateo's honor reads in part, quote, "He was a brother, a son, and an uncle. He had so much to live. Christmas lights forever have a meaning to us. He will remain in our hearts for eternity." As hundreds of lights are going up around houses in San Diego each day, Christmas light installer Jay Hobson, owner of the Holiday Lighters, says the biggest danger is usually the height.
If you are going to use a ladder and not work from the roof, is having like the 4 points of contact. You want the bottom to both be touching and the top to both be touching. It's safer to hold the rung, so if your foot slips, you're holding onto something. When you step, you want to put your arch all the way on every rung.
And safety also top of mind for Emilio Linares, owner of SD Light Guys, who says the tragedy in Escondido is a big topic for installers nationwide.
If you're ever in doubt when it comes to electrical, take a second, reassess.
Antonio Mateo's family has set up a GoFundMe in his honor to help with expenses. We have a link to that up on our website. Reporting in Escondido, I'm Zara Barker.
New research from the University of Washington links wildfire smoke exposure to an increased risk of dementia. Researchers analyzed health records of over 1 million people in Southern California, age 60 and older. They estimated each person's long-term exposure to wildfire and non-wildfire air pollution. They found for every 1 microgram per cubic meter increase in wildfire particulate matter, the odds of a dementia diagnosis increased by 18%. Coming up here on West Coast Wrap tonight, safe from Thanksgiving dinner tables. Tonight, the rare turkey roaming a zoo here in the West. Also, a new twist in the feud between hip-hop artists Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Why Drake is accusing a major record label of taking sides. Los Angeles police have arrested more than 20 people they say were connected with an illegal gambling operation. Those arrests were made on Thursday near the Westmont neighborhood. During that search, police found several illegal gambling machines along with narcotics and 2 firearms. This sting was the result of several anonymous tips that were sent in to LA Crime Stoppers. The ongoing feud between Southern California rapper Kendrick Lamar and Drake has now landed in court. Drake has filed legal papers accusing Universal Music Group of an underhanded scheme to promote Kendrick Lamar's mega hit They Not Like Us at the expense of Drake's music. The documents accuse the label of using bots as well as a pay-to-play agreement to saturate streaming services and radio airwaves with Kendrick Lamar's diss track that goes after Drake. I talked earlier with TMZ's Michael Babcock about this legal action.
A lot of people have said this is a bad move by Drake, that you lost the feud with Kendrick, and now to do this, it almost adds insult to injury to his own cause, because a lot of people have looked at this as, of him being a sore loser. Like, you lost, just take the loss and accept it and move on. You're still one of the most successful artists in the world. It goes without saying. Why file a lawsuit? But obviously not how Drake feels.
Yeah, clearly not. He is taking legal action. It's also worth noting in all of this that Universal Music Group also distributes Drake's music. The documents that were filed by Drake's attorneys are an effort to obtain information from the record label, which could potentially lead to lawsuits down the road. Now, Universal issued a statement on all of this saying, quote, the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. Finally tonight, a rare turkey on display ahead of Thanksgiving. This female ocellated turkey is roaming a portion of the San Diego Zoo. Now, it has metallic-looking feathers, unlike the turkeys that most people associate with Thanksgiving dinner. Ocellated turkeys are native to the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, as well as parts of Belize and Guatemala. They're considered near threatened by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. A quick reminder before we go, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West Coast at westcoastwrap.com, and stream our shows free on your smart TV by downloading the free Fox Local app. A live look tonight at LAX. Very busy as we head toward Thanksgiving. Have a great night.